A lot of the roles that are there today, they may be gone, and that's fine, but you have to be thinking about that. So that involves developing and coaching your current bench to be able to meet and exceed the expectations of the roles you don't even have yet.
Everybody will eventually leave their company. That's unavoidable for every business owner. To accept that as part of the reality of your business, at some point you'll leave. How do you do that on your terms?
Welcome to the Inside Forbes Councils podcast. Each episode shares transformative insights and advice from members of Forbes Councils, a group of invitation-only communities for successful executives and entrepreneurs. Today we'll hear from two Forbes Councils members, Beth Aubrey and Christian Muntean, on the topic of business succession. As a business owner, the thought of who will carry on the business after you retire is always in the back of your mind. How do you ensure that the right people will be there to take your business into the future? And how do you prepare your successors to take up the mantle?
Agriculture is my background, so I've really worked to try to apply it. An active culture of coaching.
That's Beth Aubrey, the owner and founder of Aubrey Coaching and Training. She's also the author of the new book, Who's Running Your Farm?
You know, if you're a small business owner and you're worried about the sustainability, the financial and the longevity of your business, the first place to start is, why does it matter? And I recently read a study that said 80% of business owners want their operations or their companies to continue, yet they're not sure if the next generation is competent, ready, or interested in doing that. So that's a really good place to start. Why does this matter? Why would you want to see it going into the future? What's the purpose? Where do you see this business going? Those kinds of fundamental questions can really help you inform the decisions you make as you begin to put together the culture of coaching and devise something like that for your business. And another one that I would share that I think is important is to take inventory. A lot of times small businesses are so busy meeting the demands of their inventory of products and services and sales, and then managing financials, managing risk, maybe getting out there, building relationships and business development, that really taking a hard look at their bench, and not just the bench today, but the pipeline. Talent pipeline is a big challenge for small businesses. What do you have coming up? How's that pipeline look for you 2, 5, even 10 years down the line? And what are the roles that are going to become obsolete? You know, in my industry, agriculture, we are just innovating like crazy. And so a lot of the roles that are there today, they may be gone, and that's fine, but you have to be thinking about that. So that involves developing and coaching your current bench to be able to meet and exceed the expectations of the roles you don't even have yet. So those are a couple of effective tips to begin with that, develop and coach your next generation.
Can you share an example from your industry?
Agriculture is a fascinating mix of the traditional and the innovative and high tech. It's really, and it's gotten to that space fairly quickly. So, and it's also family, and it's family business, and it's got longevity, and also has a lot of emotion tied to it. With any family business, there's, it's that way. And so when you get to a point where suddenly you've got your primary growers are getting to an age where they either are considering retirement and they may or may not have a successor. And then you've got, this shift in leadership is going to happen. You've got the changing face of labor as well. Today, another reason this is so critical for us to address developing and coaching the next generation in the industry is we graduate more women with college degrees in agriculture today than men. That's a fundamental shift in the face of labor from every part of the system, from people who do a basic labor job all the way up to the executive level. And so how do we work to make sure that we're really providing systems in our workplaces that will be great for this change in the type of people that we're going to recruit and hire? So a lot of things are happening. The global marketplace is a very huge component of this. I was talking to a grower the other day. He's raised corn a long time. Most people think of farming, they think of corn, or they think of animals. Well, he went to raising chickpeas. Now why is this bona fide corn farmer raising chickpeas? Well, because it's what people want to eat. They love hummus. So he's raising these chickpeas to go straight into hummus, something that, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, he would have never dreamed was possible. And it's a good profit for him. He teased it. He said the funkiest thing in my lunchbox when I was a kid was bad bologna. But now my grandkids are, having hummus and jicama. I didn't know what it was 5 years ago. Now I'm growing it. When you have an industry shifting that fast, you've really got to be thinking about how do we make sure leadership is transferred smartly, and yet we're also bringing up that next generation of leaders to be really savvy in what they do.
Right now, a big issue facing the small business community, or small and medium-sized business community, is nationally, in the United States at least, just over 50% of all small businesses are owned by baby boomers, which is a real dramatic size of the population.
That's Christian Muntean, president of Vantage Consulting.
And the thing that's a challenge that's right now starting to emerge on the landscape is that baby boomers are looking at retiring, or they're starting to face issues that come up as you get older, and they're starting to leave their businesses. And so right now there's actually more businesses on the market than there ever have been before for sale and for people to acquire. The problem is, depending on the industry and where you're at in the country, about 70 to 80% of them never find buyers. I've been a small business owner most of my life. My wife's a small business owner. I can't imagine the experience of spending your entire life or a large part of your life and energy building a business, investing everything that you invest to make a business go. And then for most of these folks, they actually have their retirement ticket in their business. They're hoping that the value of their business is going to be what underwrites their retirement. And then when they get around to selling their business or handing it over to family or maybe management or something like that, they find that they can't extract that value from the business. And many of them actually close with debt. And so to me, that's tragic future for many of these companies. But fortunately, with a couple of different changes, many of them can turn this around and actually have a very successful exit.
What is it about the companies that make them unattractive to buyers or prevents children or family members from wanting to take over?
So the reason that a lot of these businesses struggle, or the reason that you have such a low acquisition rate of businesses that go for sale, there's really one primary reason, and it's usually owner dependence. In other words, the business is so dependent on the owner, even for companies that are worth tens of millions or maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. They are not worth, but in terms of revenues, they may be moving that much cash through them. They can't sell because everything is tied around either the owner or maybe a very small group of senior leadership who are all getting ready to leave around the same time. And as a result, most buyers will look at that and they'll say, but you are the company and I can't buy you. And so I don't really have a company. What they will do sometimes is negotiate an agreement or attempt to where you now become an employee and you work for the new buyer, the new owner, for a number of years. And that's a very common arrangement, but it's also an arrangement that most selling owners don't like being in. They don't want to be an employee, but it is a common one. And it's because of that reason. The company wasn't built to be easily handed over to a new owner and to new management. There's a number of other reasons as well, but that a lot of it's just encapsulated in all of the things that are required for a company to be independent in terms of its operations and success from ownership.
If you feel that your business isn't in a position to survive your departure, what are some ways to course correct?
Everybody will eventually leave their company. That's unavoidable for every business owner. To accept that as part of the reality of your business, at some point you'll leave. How do you do that on your terms? And you can only do it on your terms if you begin to prepare for that. And within 3 to 5 years is the best time range. If you get within a shorter time frame, which is actually the most common scenario, where an owner says, I have an opportunity to sell, somebody came along and just offered me a chance to sell out, or I'm just tired of the business, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to put up with X, Y, or Z, and I'm done, or my health isn't good anymore, or whatever the issue is, it's harder. You have fewer options. And really what you want to do is start to build in broad stroke terms the structures of your business. if you think about the difference between restaurants, a restaurant that can be sold and a restaurant that can't. Restaurants are famous in the acquisitions business for not being able to find buyers. And the reason is because usually the owner is often the chef, and they kind of are the life and the soul of the entire restaurant. And so when the owner is gone, buyers know the restaurant's gone. There's nothing left to buy except for tables and, plates and things like that. And so it's very hard to sell a restaurant. However, if you own a McDonald's, which is not high end, it's probably not the most popular restaurant in town. It doesn't have any of the classy things of a restaurant, but because it's a system and a set of structures that's predictable, a new owner can come in that doesn't know anything about the restaurant business and learn enough to be able to run a successful franchise. And it's because McDonald's has set up those kinds of structures. And so it's understanding the difference between or the value that building structure into your business brings and makes your business more sellable.
Hypothetically, say your business is successful, but heavily owner-dependent. You just like doing the actual craft side of things and aren't interested in building the business. How would you approach that situation?
So some owners that are in their business, they're in it because they just love what they do. And really, that's the kind of business I'm in. I'm in the kind of business where I love what I do. And so the reality is in most cases, you won't have much to sell. And that's just the reality of it, because I can't sell myself. And so if I want to plan for long-term financial stability, I'll need to make other investments or have other things in place for that, because my business itself probably won't be able to be sold for much unless I actually build a firm. As a solo consultant, it won't be worth. If I have a firm and I start building that, if I wanted to do that, which I don't, then I might be able to sell that. But that's very common. I mean, many doctors, for example, dentists, attorneys, many professionals find themselves in a place where they've had very lucrative, high revenue, high profitability businesses that aren't worth anything when they come to selling. And if they haven't been planning for that, they assume they are because they've been maybe making millions every year. But when it comes down to it, there's nothing much to hand over other than your inventory. And maybe you hope there's a client list you can sell, but oftentimes it's not worth that much. And so the reality is if you've built your business on yourself, and that's because of what you love doing, the work itself, then you really need to have a separate plan, because your future or your retirement probably isn't going to be in the value of your business.
I'd like to thank our guests for their time. Succession plans are definitely something that all business owners should be thinking about before it's too late. Whether this means grooming talent years in advance to ensure a smooth transition, or even diversifying your income to not be as reliant on your business, whatever strategy you choose, it's definitely better to start now than later. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, and as always, we'll see you on the next episode.